Okay, my Ready to Love fans, we got to talk about this episode. With the mixers out of the way, small group and one-on-one dates begin, and while many rise to the occasions, others fall flat on their faces. Welcome back to Romance Review TV. It's Lady T. I got another recap for you guys. Ready to Love Miami Season 7, Episode number 3, I'm a Smoocher. And without any further ado, let's talk about the drama in this episode. So, our ladies start out with a meeting with Tommy as Tommy tells them that they need to get vulnerable this episode. Plus, we got group dates that the ladies are going to take the men out on and a couple of one-on-one dates. So, let's talk about all of these new connections. So, a lot of people definitely find someone that they could see something long term with, at least for the most part. So, with Jeffri and Demario, they go on a date where they go horseback riding. And since she loved growing up on a farm and him hopping on a horse and it being like second nature to him, because he wasn't too excited about that date, but he acted like he was a pro. Then add him highlighting her having kids as a sign of time management and financial planning skills. Oh yeah, she's definitely found someone that she's attracted to. So, not to be outdone, Cynthia and Andre go on a one-on-one date. And since Cynthia is very much open and willing to be vulnerable, she talks about being a strong woman, being a defense thing, and her desire and willingness to be soft with the right person. Now, Cynthia even cried talking about this. For her just being given the space to open up safely, it made her feel emotional with him. Let's talk about Lyndon. Lyndon is cool. Now, he goes on a group date with Tony, Morgan, Marcia. And while Marcia kind of curved him when he decided to try to go in for a kiss, they're pretty cool. He also goes on a solo date with Janique, and while there's not really any sparks, butterflies, or people waiting to claim each other, things are still pretty good. And one of the things that was interesting is she became vulnerable about not comparing people to each other. She want to see people for who they are and meet them where they are. He's an option, but maybe no one's top pick. Now, on the flip side, with Morgan, who wants to love and trust Tony, there is a wonder of who else he's saying the right things to. So she want to make sure that she's the only one and that he's not being Mr. Smooth with some of the other ladies as well. So then we have a small group date when it comes to Mark Anthony with Mercedes and Sue-Ann with Blake. And with Mercedes and Anthony, pretty much they just doesn't have to say or do anything stupid, and he has her. To really show you how nearly everyone has pretty much found someone at least, Blake and Sue-Ann find themselves canoodling as well and enjoying each other's company. He even gives her this nickname for emergencies called Susu in case they ever need to do what is called an Irish exit. So, while many are finding potential matches, Corvea is not so lucky. Now, while Fabrice may seem good on paper, he doesn't know how to follow that up with anything, I guess, meaningful. Yeah, he had and sold a successful business, enjoyed bike riding, which is what their date was, and Corvea loves that too. However, when they sit down and have a conversation, he wants to kind of talk in a way that wasn't so appealing to her about her heritage and the type of woman she is, and him thinking that he know all about who she is.
So what do you like to do for fun?
I love to motivate people and inspire people on social media.
You're so young. So actually, one of my first loves was actually from Puerto Rico. So I understand you much more than you can imagine. But the thing with you is that you're so distant that it actually makes me uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
Are you really giving me the whole you?
Why are you so sure that you know me better than I know myself, and then tell me that I'm not being open and honest? I'm offended.
And of course, that's another nail that probably is going to be put in his coffin because he definitely struck out with Corvea. So it was now time for the ladies to meet up once again, of course, with Tommy to see who they're liking and see who they are not feeling and who's possibly not ready to love. And though for a hot minute, it did seem that Blake could have messed up once again and sealed his fate because he is very straightforward. Plus, he doesn't want any children. And Fabrice talking about sex too much and insulting Corvea may have led Marcia dismissing him, but Jeffri making it seem that Blake is possessive, doesn't want to be in the process since he had already chosen her, according to her. And it raised a lot of red flags.
He expressed to me that he has to do this process because he already has found his girl.
Wait a minute.
He hates that he has to process because he has found what he wants.
He was like, "You're my dream woman." Every date I'm going on, he wants to know what time I'm getting done, who's your top. I'm beginning to feel like I'm in a relationship without,
Without being in one.
Yeah.
That's an insecure man.
I haven't been able to breathe. He's like, I've already found my girl. It's you, and I hate to tell these women what they want to hear.
However, when it came to Sue Ann, she dismisses that even when Blake makes some confessions to being possessive, but not into Jeffri as he claims. So they decided to take the guys out, and of course the decision is made. However, there is a twist where Tommy says this.
I'm giving you the ability to give one man a second chance lifeline.
So I'm assuming that lifeline they can use at any time. I don't think they have to use it now. So, of course, they take Fabrice out, and he was kind of shocked. He came in looking at how beautiful she was. She felt, I guess, uncomfortable, so she closed up her shirt. And then, of course, Blake, he already has pretty much an idea of what's going on because he know that the ladies deliberated with Tommy today. However, the decision was made that Blake was still ready to love, and especially Sue Ann still wants him there. She has a connection with him. He was also informed about what Jeffri said, which he denied him saying that. He said he had a conversation, but it wasn't like the way Jeffri described. However, it's going to make him more closed off now because now he feels that he have to set boundaries. So it might get a little bit tougher for some of these folks when it comes to Blake. As for Fabrice, he actually thought this was an actual date. And unfortunately, she had to break the news to him that he was not ready to love. And he had something to say about that too.
I know who I am, but it's okay. It's a lesson in life. There was all this thing about me not being ready for love because I talked about sex. I think it's pretty hypocritical, but I understand if they feel this way. It's okay. I think culturally is where there was a clash. I went in, I was myself. I knew it was something new. It was something fresh.
Exactly.
I went for it.
Well, give me a hug.
Sure.
And honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe he is French. And when you think of France, you think of Paris. And one thing about Paris is all that love and romance. So it doesn't surprise me when he says the things being different culturally. That would make a little bit of sense. But of course, you're over here. So unfortunately, it's not going to sit well with where you actually are versus where you actually came from because people see things differently. So he took it as a learning experience, and, you know, wherever he goes from here, hopefully he can take that with him as well. Okay, so here's my question. I know that there was, some curving by Morgan regarding Lyndon. I mean, was it for Tony or for somebody else or something else? I don't know. And then regarding Blue and Anthony's dates, were they that boring that they didn't get featured? I'm like, did I miss something until I saw the highlights when the ladies deliberated with Tommy later? And then what next in regards to elimination? The men have the power the next go round. And if there were maybe 2 women in the bottom 2, could it possibly be Corvea? Or maybe Cynthia, due to her focusing mainly on Andre and the other men not really getting to know her much. The guys, do you think Blake is going to make it another round later down the road? Because on that preview, him and Jeffri look like they're going to have a little bit of a tiff on the cruise because they're using the yacht next week. And that whole thing might fizzle out unless he continue to build up everything with Sue Ann. And then our in-game couples, I mean, Mark Anthony and Mercedes, possibly, Tony and Morgan, Cynthia and Andre, I mean, they seem to be pretty firm too. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. So I hope you enjoyed this recap. Stay tuned for other recaps on this channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.